If you plant the right perennials this May, your garden will be overflowing with color by July. And the best part is, once these plants are in the ground, they do the hard work for you. They spread, they fill in, they multiply. Year after year after year. Today, I am sharing 15 perennials that spread faster than almost anything else you can put in your garden. These are the workhorses, the plants that turn a tired, patchy bed into a full, lush, jaw-dropping landscape, often in a single season. Some of these will flower in just weeks after planting. Others will creep, climb or carpet the ground so quickly you will wonder why you ever bought annuals in the first place. And every single one of these is tough enough to survive a beginner gardener, a forgotten watering can, or a hot, dry July. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's walk through them together. Stay with me until the end, because the last 3 on this list are the ones I wish somebody had told me about 20 years ago. First on the list is creeping phlox. And if you have ever driven past a garden in early May and seen a river of pink, purple or white cascading over a stone wall, you have already seen creeping phlox in action. This little plant is one of the earliest spreaders you can plant. It hugs the ground, barely reaching 6 inches tall, but it can spread 2 to 3 feet wide in a single season. The secret is in the stems. Where the stems touch the soil, they root. So every time it grows outward, it anchors itself and keeps going. May is the perfect month to plant creeping phlox because you get to watch it bloom almost immediately. Tuck it into the front of a bed, let it spill over a retaining wall, or use it along a walkway where it can tumble over the edge. Give it full sun, give it well-drained soil, and give it almost nothing else. Creeping phlox does not want rich soil. It does not want a lot of water. It wants to be left alone. And when you leave it alone, it rewards you with one of the most spectacular flower carpets in any garden. A quick tip. After it finishes blooming in late spring, give it a light shearing, just a little haircut to tidy it up. That one small step will keep it dense, keep it spreading, and keep it blooming stronger next year. Second is catmint, and I am going to tell you right now, if you only plant one thing from this list, make it catmint. Catmint, or nepeta, is the plant that just keeps giving. It starts blooming in May, and if you cut it back by about 1/3 in late June, it will bloom all over again through July, August, and right into September. That is 4 full months of soft, lavender blue flowers swaying in the breeze. The variety you want to look for is called Walker's Low. Do not let the name fool you. It actually grows about 2 feet tall and 3 feet wide. It is called low because it does not flop the way older varieties did. It stays full, mounded, and shaped like a beautiful loose cushion. Plant it in full sun, in average soil. It hates being wet, it hates being pampered. The drier and rockier the spot, the happier it is. This makes catmint perfect for the hot strip along a driveway, a sunny slope, or that bed next to the house that always bakes in the afternoon. Bees love it, butterflies love it, hummingbirds drop by too. And deer and rabbits walk right past it, because the soft, minty scent is something they cannot stand. If you have ever lost a flower bed to hungry deer, catmint is your revenge. It spreads by gentle expansion, getting wider each year as the clump fills in. After 3 or 4 years, you can dig it up, split it into 2 or 3 pieces, and plant those pieces somewhere else. Free plants, forever. Third on our list is bee balm. If you want to bring your garden to life, and I mean truly alive, buzzing, fluttering, humming with pollinators, plant bee balm. Bee balm, also called monarda, is a Native American perennial that blooms in July and August with wild, shaggy flowers in red, pink, purple, or white. The flowers look like little firework explosions on top of square, minty stems. Crush a leaf between your fingers, and it smells like a mix of oregano and Earl Grey tea. Here is why it made the fast-spreading list. Bee balm spreads through underground runners called rhizomes. One plant in year 1 becomes a small clump in year 2, a medium patch in year 3, and a full colony by year 4. It is one of the most reliable spreaders you will ever grow. Give it full sun to light shade. Give it average to moist soil. It will happily grow in spots that are a little damp, which is unusual for a flowering perennial. And it is native across much of the country, which means it is already built for your climate. One important tip. Choose a mildew-resistant variety. The old-fashioned kinds can get powdery white leaves by midsummer. Look for names like Jacob Klein, Raspberry Wine, or Pardon My Purple. These newer varieties resist mildew and stay green and fresh all the way to frost. Hummingbirds adore bee balm. If you have ever wanted to watch a hummingbird right outside your kitchen window, plant a patch of bee balm within view. You will not regret it. Fourth is the black-eyed Susan. This is the flower that screams summer in America. Bright golden yellow petals surrounding a deep chocolate brown center on strong stems blooming from midsummer all the way until the first frost. The botanical name is Rudbeckia, and the variety you want is called Goldsturm. It was named Perennial Plant of the Year by the Plant Association years ago, and nothing has knocked it off the throne since. Black-eyed Susans spread in two ways, and that is why they belong on this list. First, the clumps expand outward a little more each year. But second, and more importantly, they self-seed. The flowers go to seed in late fall. The birds eat most of them through the winter, and whatever gets left behind sprouts up as little baby plants the following spring. Within 3 or 4 years, one starter plant becomes a drift of 20 or 30. If you have a big bed to fill, or a meadow-style garden, this is exactly what you want. Plant them in full sun, in any decent soil. They are not picky. They handle drought, they handle clay, and they handle heat. Cut them back to the ground in late fall, or even better, leave the dried flower heads standing through winter so the goldfinches can eat the seeds. Pair black-eyed Susans with purple coneflower and ornamental grasses for a classic American prairie look that takes almost zero maintenance. Fifth is the Daylily, and the Daylily has earned the nickname the perfect perennial for good reason. Each individual flower only lasts 1 day, which is where the name comes from. But each stalk produces a dozen or more buds, and each clump produces many stalks. So a single plant can bloom for weeks on end, giving you wave after wave of color from early summer through late summer. Now, the reason daylilies belong on a fast-spreading list is because of how quickly the clumps multiply. A single fan of leaves, the little bundle you plant in May, will turn into 4 or 5 fans by the following year. Within 3 or 4 years, you will have a football-sized clump that you can dig up, split apart, and replant across your entire yard. This is how gardeners fill half an acre for free. Daylilies come in almost every color except true blue, classic orange, lemon yellow, deep burgundy, soft pink, cream bicolors, ruffled edges, huge blooms, tiny blooms. There is a daylily for every taste. Look for repeat bloomers like Stella de Oro or Happy Returns, which flower off and on all summer instead of just once. Plant them in full sun for the most flowers, although they will tolerate a few hours of afternoon shade. They handle any soil, any weather, and almost any amount of neglect. This is the perennial you plant when you want results and do not want to babysit anything. Sixth on our list is Yarrow. If you have a hot, dry, difficult spot where nothing seems to grow, Yarrow is your answer. Yarrow is one of those ancient garden plants that has been grown for thousands of years, first as an herb, then as a medicine, and eventually as an ornamental. It produces flat, plate-shaped flower heads in yellow, pink, red, peach, or white on top of feathery fern-like foliage. The blooms last for weeks, and they dry beautifully for winter arrangements. Yarrow spreads through rhizomes, just like bee balm, and it spreads fast. In poor, sandy, rocky soil, it will colonize an area within 2 to 3 years. This is actually why some gardeners are cautious with it. But if you need tough coverage in a hot, neglected spot, Yarrow is a gift. Plant it in full sun, in lean soil. And I mean truly lean. Yarrow hates rich, pampered garden beds. If you fertilize Yarrow, it will flop over and sulk. The poorer the soil, the sturdier the plant, the better the flowers. Butterflies love Yarrow. Beneficial insects love Yarrow. It is a magnet for the good bugs that eat the bad bugs in your garden, which makes it a fantastic companion for a vegetable patch. My favorite variety is called Moonshine, with soft silvery grey foliage and bright lemon yellow flowers. It looks stunning next to deep purple Salvia or blue Catmint. Seventh is the purple coneflower. And if you have been gardening for any length of time, you already know this beauty. Purple coneflower, or Echinacea, is a Native American wildflower that has become one of the most popular garden perennials in the world. The classic version has lavender purple petals drooping back from a big orange-brown cone in the center. And the way bees and butterflies crawl all over those cones in August is one of the best shows in any garden. Coneflowers belong on the fast-spreading list for two reasons. The clumps expand outward each year, and like black-eyed Susans, they self-seed. Leave the spent flowers standing in fall, and by next spring you'll find little baby coneflowers popping up all around the parent plant. 3. More plants. They are extremely drought-tolerant once established, which makes them perfect for gardeners who travel, forget to water, or just want a beautiful flower that takes care of itself. Plant them in full sun, in well-drained soil. They will even grow in heavy clay, as long as it does not stay soggy in winter. You can now find coneflowers in colors beyond purple, including bright orange, deep red, lemon yellow, white, and even pale green. But my advice is, start with the classic purple varieties first, because they are tougher, longer-lived and more likely to self-seed than the fancy hybrids. Number 8 is Sedum. Specifically, the tall garden sedum called Autumn Joy, although there are dozens of wonderful varieties. Sedum is a succulent, which means it stores water in its thick, fleshy leaves. It does not care if you forget to water it. It does not care if the summer turns brutal and hot. It does not care if the soil is rocky, sandy or thin. This is the plant you grow when you want something beautiful that absolutely refuses to die. Autumn Joy Sedum forms a neat upright clump about 2 feet tall and 2 feet wide. The leaves come up fresh green in May, hold their shape all summer, and then, in late August, the flower heads begin to open. They start pale pink, deepen to rose, and finally fade to a rich bronze in fall. Even after a frost, the dried flower heads look stunning all winter long. Sedum spreads by the clumps slowly expanding outward, and even better, by how easily it propagates. Break off a stem, stick it in the ground, and within weeks it has roots. You can turn one sedum into 50 without spending a dime. Plant it in full sun, in any well-drained soil. Too much water, too much fertilizer, or too much shade will make sedum flop. Keep it lean, keep it dry, and it will stand tall and proud for decades. Bees absolutely love sedum in September, when most other flowers are winding down. This is one of the last great sources of nectar before winter, and watching the pollinator traffic on a sedum patch in fall is pure magic. 9th on our list is lamb's ear, and if you have never grown lamb's ear, you are missing out on one of the softest, most touchable plants in the entire plant world. Lamb's ear, or Stachys byzantina, is famous for its fuzzy, silver-grey leaves. They really do feel exactly like a baby lamb's ear, soft, velvety, and slightly warm to the touch. Kids love it. Grandkids love it even more. It belongs on this list because it spreads by creeping runners just above the soil surface. One plant will expand into a soft silver carpet in just a couple of seasons, making it perfect for the edge of a bed, along a path, or at the front of a border. Plant it in full sun, in well-drained soil. Wet soil is lamb's ear's worst enemy. If you plant it in a rich, moist bed, the leaves will rot and turn black in the middle of summer. But give it a dry, sunny spot, and it will be happy for decades. One tip. Some gardeners like the flower spikes that lamb's ear sends up in June. They are pink and fuzzy and somewhat charming. Other gardeners, myself included, prefer to snip them off as soon as they appear because the plant stays neater and more compact without them. Either way is fine. Do what pleases your eye. Pair lamb's ear with purple salvia, pink roses or deep-colored foliage plants like euchera. That silver foliage makes every color around it pop. 10th is hardy geranium. And no, this is not the red flower in the hanging basket on your front porch. That is actually a pelargonium. True hardy geraniums, sometimes called crane's bills, are cold hardy perennials that come back year after year. The variety I want you to know about is called Roseanne, and it was voted Plant of the Century a few years back by the Royal Horticultural Society. That is a big deal, and here is why. Roseanne begins blooming in late May, and it does not stop, not in June, not in July, not in August, not until the first hard frost knocks it down in October or November. That is 5 to 6 months of continuous, beautiful violet blue flowers. It spreads by mounding outward, each plant growing 2 feet tall and 3 feet wide in a single season. It weaves through other plants, tumbles over edges and fills in bare spots without being aggressive. Plant it in full sun to part shade, in average soil. It handles heat, it handles drought, it handles rain, it handles clay. In short, it handles almost anything you throw at it. If you want a no fuss, long-blooming perennial that covers ground beautifully. Roseanne is the one plant this May will look like a small shrub by August. 3 plants will fill an entire bed. This is what I mean by fast-spreading beauty. 11th is lady's mantle. And lady's mantle is one of those quiet plants that gardeners fall in love with slowly, and then forever. The botanical name is Alchemilla mollis, and the leaves alone are reason enough to grow it. Soft, scalloped, gently pleated leaves the color of fresh sage, arranged in tidy mounds. But the true magic happens after a rain or a heavy dew. Water droplets collect on the leaves and sit there like tiny diamonds, catching the morning light. It is one of the most beautiful sights in any garden. In June, the plant sends up clouds of chartreuse green flowers that look like sprays of soft lace. The flowers last for weeks, and they go beautifully with everything around them. Roses, purple salvia, pink peonies, you name it. Lady's mantle is the garden's great matchmaker. It spreads by self-seeding, and it is a champion at it. Leave a lady's mantle plant alone for 2 or 3 years, and you will have a gentle colony of them forming along your path, or at the base of your roses. If you do not want them to spread, simply shear off the flower heads before they drop seed. Plant lady's mantle in part shade to full sun in average garden soil. It is one of the few perennials that thrives in partial shade, which makes it incredibly valuable if your yard has a lot of tree cover. Tuck it under dappled shade at the front of a woodland path, or along a shaded walkway. It will glow. 12th is Russian sage. And if you have ever driven past a bank of airy silver blue flowers swaying in the August heat, you have seen Russian sage doing its job. Russian sage, also called Perovskia, is a woody perennial, which means the stems get a little bit twiggy like a shrub, but it dies back to the ground each winter and pushes up fresh growth every spring. It grows 4 feet tall and 4 feet wide, with finely cut silver leaves and tall wands of tiny lavender blue flowers that bloom from July through October. It belongs on this list because once established, the clumps get bigger and fuller each year, and new plants often sprout from the root system at the edges. You can dig these up and move them, or just let the colony naturally expand to fill a sunny corner. Planted in full sun, in poor to average, well-drained soil. Russian sage hates wet feet in winter. If your soil is heavy clay, plant it on a slope or raise the bed up a bit so water drains away. In the right spot, a single Russian sage plant will last for 15 or 20 years. The variety Little Spire is a smaller, tidier version that grows about 2 to 3 feet tall. Great for smaller gardens or the front of a border. The classic variety, called Blue Spire, is the tall, dramatic one that belongs at the back of a bed or along a fence line. Pollinators flock to Russian sage. The fragrance, a little medicinal, a little minty, keeps deer and rabbits away, and the sight of those blue flowers against silver foliage in the middle of a blazing July afternoon is one of the great gifts of the summer garden. 13th is Coreopsis, and Coreopsis is the plant that never stops smiling. Sometimes called tick seed, Coreopsis produces cheerful, daisy-like flowers in yellow, orange, red, pink or bicolored combinations from early summer right through fall. The flowers are small, but there are so many of them all at once that the plant looks like it is covered in confetti. The second type is the larger, bigger flowered varieties like Jeffro Tull or Early Sunrise. These tend to be shorter lived, but make up for it by self-seeding so readily that you always have new plants coming along. Plant Coreopsis in full sun, in average to poor, well-drained soil. Like so many of the plants on this list, it thrives on neglect. Too much fertilizer makes the plants floppy, and fewer of them bloom. Keep it lean, keep it sunny, and the flowers will not quit. Deadhead the spent flowers every week or 2 to keep new blooms coming, or leave them if you want the plant to self-seed. Both choices lead to more plants, just in different ways. 14th is creeping thyme, and if you are tired of mowing patches of lawn that never quite work, creeping thyme is the answer you have been looking for. Creeping thyme is a low-growing, fragrant ground cover that stays only 2 to 4 inches tall and spreads to fill any sunny spot you give it. Step on it, and it releases a wonderful lemony herbal scent. Walk through a patch of creeping thyme in bare feet on a warm evening, and you will understand why gardeners have been growing it for hundreds of years. In June and July, the whole patch turns pink, rose, or purple with tiny flowers that bees absolutely adore. A lawn of creeping thyme in full bloom looks like a sunset puddle in your yard. It spreads by rooting stems, meaning wherever the stems touch the soil, they put down roots and keep expanding. Plant small plugs about 12 inches apart, and within 2 seasons you will have a solid carpet. Plant creeping thyme in full sun, in very well drained soil. It will even grow in the cracks between stepping stones and along gravel paths, because it loves heat and hates wet feet. Use it between pavers, along the edge of a walkway, spilling over a stone wall, or as a full lawn replacement in a sunny spot where grass always struggles. The variety, Elfin, is the smallest and most refined, perfect for between stepping stones. Pink chintz has beautiful pink flowers. Mother of Thyme is the classic wild-looking one. All of them spread well. All of them smell wonderful. All of them last for years. And finally, number 15, Salvia. Specifically, the perennial salvias, not the annual red ones you see in garden centres every spring. The variety I want you to plant this May is called May Night. And yes, it is named after the month we are in right now. May Night Salvia produces tall upright spikes of deep violet blue flowers that look like purple fireworks coming up from a mound of fresh green leaves. It belongs on this list because the clumps expand quickly, and if you cut the spent flower stalks back hard after the first bloom, the plant will rebloom a second and sometimes even a third time before fall. Few perennials give you that much flower power for so little work. Plant May Night Salvia in full sun, in average well-drained soil. It handles drought beautifully once established. Deer and rabbits walk right past it, because like Catmint, the foliage smells too strong for their taste. The flower spikes stand about 18 to 24 inches tall, and the plant itself forms a mound about the same width. Plant 3 of them together in a triangle, and by next year you will have a gorgeous blue cloud floating over your garden from late May through July. Pair May Night Salvia with pink roses, yellow Coreopsis, or silver Lanzia. It is one of the best companion plants in the entire perennial world because that deep violet blue brings out the colour of almost everything around it. Now, before you run off to the garden centre, let me share 3 quick tips that will make every single one of these plants spread faster, bloom better, and live longer. Tip number 1. Do not amend the soil too much. Almost every plant on this list prefers lean, average soil. Rich, fluffy, pampered soil makes them lazy and floppy. Tough soil makes them strong. Tip number 2. Water deeply, but infrequently. A long, slow soaking once a week is 100 times better than a light sprinkle every day. Deep watering builds deep roots, and deep roots are what allow these plants to survive the worst heat of summer. Tip number 3. Mulch. 2 to 3 inches of shredded bark or leaf mulch around your plants will hold in moisture. Keep the roots cool, and slowly feed the soil as it breaks down. Skip the rock mulch and skip the dyed red mulch. Natural shredded bark is the gardener's best friend. Plant these 15 perennials this May. Follow those 3 tips, and by August, your garden will be the one your neighbours stop to ask about. By next May, you will have more plants than you know what to do with. And 3 years from now, you will have a landscape you did not think was possible. Which of these 15 are you going to plant first? Let me know in the comments, because I read every single one, and I love hearing what my gardening friends are growing. If this video helped you, please hit that thumbs up button. It truly helps the channel. And do not forget to subscribe so you do not miss next week's video, which is going to be even better.